Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
I, I myself, James Benial. I'm
Yeah,
from Tamil Nadu. I'm
yeah,
currently doing my UG in biomedical engineering.
okay. Biomedical. From which university?
Sage Institute of Technology, affiliated to Anna University.
Okay, Anna. My brother also studied there. Then who left now? Andrea.
Good evening,
Hi,
ma'am.
good evening.
Ma'am, my name is Andrea and I'm from Kerala.
Oh, you're from Kerala, okay. Okay, so I will introduce myself. I am Harsha. So currently I'm a PhD scholar as well as a PMRF fellow. And I am doing my PhD in ICER Berhampur in ribonucleoprotein biology lab under the guidance of Dr. R. Selvi Bharjavikram. So my native place is Kottayam from Kerala, but
Oh,
currently
great.
I'm doing in Odisha. So that's about myself. Let's wait for some more time. Only 6 people join. Then we will start. Okay. So I hope you guys went through the last week first sessions, all the 5 sessions. Started with introduction to physiology. So we'll go through the summary of each session and we'll practice some questions. Let's go through, let's interact each other and let's try to solve some questions. So what was the first lecture about? It was generally an introduction. So mainly the course focuses on to know more about your body, right? So actually, sir started the class with a like very furious question. You guys go to doctor, but do you guys know what the doctor prescribe and how it's going to the medicine is going to react in the body? So it's even though you are from a physics background, chemistry background, any background, it's basic need of a human being to know ourselves more about our own body system, right? So it's always good. So this course will help you to know more about your body, to understand what all are the system, everything. So that was the first class was generally about a general introduction to anatomy and physiology. So sir started the class with what is biology. So what is biology? What is the definition of biology? Bio locos. If we split the word, it will be bio and locos. What is biology? Come on. Yeah, correct. Study of life. Okay. Study of life and life forms and function. That is basically biology. Bio means life and logos means to study. Then he's told us about the different characteristics of a living system. So what are the different, how can we know this particular thing is living and this particular things are not living things? So there are so many features, right? One is organization. Like if it's a living system, there are different levels of organization, step by step, cellular level of organization, tissue level of organization. Then there are responsiveness. So if I am going to like touch me not plant, I'm just telling we also have. So if I'm going to touch like unknowingly some fire or something, I will like withdraw my hand like this, right? So there are we all living beings respond to their environment. Then there is growth plus differentiation. Can you compare ourselves like some years before none how we are growing? So after each phase we are growing along with development. So growth and development are also two particular characteristics of a living beings. Then there is reproduction. So only living beings can reproduce their progeny. Some is like some can produce exact same copies, and there is like variation, evolution, different aspects is there. So reproduction is also one of the major characteristics of all living beings. Then there is movement. I can move like this. I am speaking. I am talking. I am waving my hands. Everything I can do, right? So all these characteristics are also living beings can only do. Then there is metabolism and excretion. Metabolism consists of again two components, anabolism and catabolism. Right. Anabolism means uh, building up of process, and catabolism means breakdown of process. We are eating some food like if I am eating rice or something else, whatever your favorite food, I don't know. So you are eating that. It's like complex organic compounds, right? Then after eating, our body have the particular system to break it down into smaller components. For example, the rice that I ate into finally will convert it to in the form of glucose, which is the fine source of energy. So whatever the convenient form, we can split it into the smaller forms and can use it in the same way. Then, so this was the first lecture was about. I think only 8 people joined. Let's see. Can I start presentation? Okay, I will share the screen. Let's. So there are some more people who are there. Kitty and Arya, can you please introduce? Hi, Kitty. Okay, Kitty is not responding. Hello, Arya. Arya Sridevi.
Hi, ma'am.
Can you please introduce?
Yeah, sure. My name is Arya, and I'm currently doing my BTech in biotechnology from NIT Calicut, and I'm currently in my third year right now, and
Okay.
I'm from Kerala, Trivandrum, Kerala.
Yeah, okay. Fine. Kitty. Okay, Kitty is still not responding. Fine. So I actually gave my introduction. My name is Harsha, and I am a PhD scholar in ISER Berhampur. Uh, so currently, I have just finished my first year of PhD and started my second year of PhD. So let's start the session, okay? Whoever joins, yeah, let them join. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we were talking about general, what about the course? So we already talked to know more about body. Then the course will deal with how our body function in each level of organization. Then what is made up of body is made up of what and what are the organizational hierarchy of our body. Then the course also tells us about how it is a regular function disrupted and how the body tries to restore its normal functioning. Like if something happened, if some disease case occurred, so how the body cope up to the homeostasis part. If something like so we are living in an external environment, right? But our body is trying to maintain all. Example for temperature, our constant body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. So whatever the outside external environment, our body always tries to cope up back to the normal temperature settings by some regulations and reactions. So that is called homeostasis. Then how the body adjusts itself under extreme physiological situation and how it recalibrate its function. So all these things we can be learned through the 12-week course lectures. So week 1 was introduction. So I hope you guys went through the lecture. So first lesson was basically an introduction to anatomy and physiology. So we were talking about this only. So what is biology? Biology is basically study of life and its forms and functions. And there are so many peculiarities of a living systems like organization, responsiveness, reproduction, movement, metabolism, excretion. All these I just have explained, right? So this was basically the first session. Then second session was organization. So what is basically the most structural unit of a life? Like if you're considering the biological level, what is comes the least level?
Cell.
Yeah, very good. Cell. Then cell clubs together to form.
Tissues.
Yes, good, very good. Then tissues will again combine to form.
Organs.
Yeah. Then organ combine to form.
Organ system.
Organs.
Yeah, organ system. And finally, different organ system combines to form a complete
Body.
organisms. Right? You guys are really smart. So, and he also told us about the different anatomy, right? What is anatomy? The word anatomy means study of,
Study of external structures of an organism.
yeah, study of structure of an organism. So basically, whatever the structure deal with, we can say it's called as anatomy. And there are different levels of anatomy. There are gross anatomy and there are microscopic anatomy. So the word itself indicates what is microscopic means. Like particularly, we cannot see everything using our eye, right? So whatever the particle that we cannot observe, like for example, a cell, like the cell cannot be observed through our eyes. So these are microscopic structure. So for visualizing such structures and the study related with such structures are called microscopic anatomy. And what is gross anatomy? In gross anatomy also there are different types, like there are surface anatomy, regional anatomy, systemic anatomy, then developmental anatomy. So regional anatomy, like suppose if you want to compare, study two different structures, trunk and head, or whatever the digestive system, and and some other things. So if you want to compare region wise anatomy, that is called regional anatomy. Then there is surface systemic anatomy, how two organ systems are interacting in a system and how they are functioning. So that comes under systemic anatomy. Then there is developmental anatomy, that is basically based on the time. So all these things are already explained in the class. I was just helping you to go through the sections. So and then microscopic anatomy I already explained. Like I told, in microscopic anatomy again there are like cellular level and histology level, which is lesser one, like which is the more minute one, cell or tissue.
Cell.
Cell, right? Cell. What is the normal size range of cells generally? Nanometers, micrometers.
Micrometers.
Yes, correct. So it's also micrometers. Then different cells combine together to form tissues. So tissues general size ranges from millimeter, centimeter. It varies also depending on what type of tissue is. Right. Uh, so this was basically about the second class. Then he told about the level of organization, that is we just learned now. Cellular, tissue, organ system, organism. And if you're again going to split the cell, then there is one more level of organization. What is that for? Cells are made up of what?
Cell organelles.
Okay, fine. These cell organelles are made up of what? The components inside the cell. So that,
Proteins.
yeah, different things are there. Proteins are there, lipids are there, carbohydrates are there. So based on the chemical composition, we get the basic symbol level is the chemical or molecular level, followed by cellular level, then tissue, then organ system, finally a complete organism. So let's go through this session. Let's solve some question. So dash is the structure of the body. What is the dash is the study of the structure of body. So just we discussed what is the study of structure of the body called.
Anatomy.
Yes, correct. So I won't say it's correct or not. Let's discuss all the answers at last. Okay. Dash is the study of function of the body. Is anyone knows? Even the course name indicates that.
Physiology.
Yes, correct. And anatomy is studied by what process? So anatomy is basically structure. We need to know about more the structure, inside structure, na? So for studying the structure, what we need to do? Anatomy is studied by dash. We are a complete organism. If we need to find out the structure inside that, we need to dissect it, cut it, right? So anatomy is studied by basically dissection. Dash is the study of organ system. We already discussed that. How the systems are interacted. All these things are coming under which type of anatomy?
Regional anatomy.
No.
Systemic anatomy.
Yes, systemic anatomy. That is the study of organ system. Gross anatomy at the systemic level. That is the correct answer, right? Then Dash considers anatomy in terms of region, such as trunk, upper membrane, or lower membrane. Simple. Come on. Answer it.
Regional anatomy.
Regional anatomy and by the in the gross anatomy. Then Dash is the study of structures that cannot be seen with the unaided eye. This is also we discussed.
Microscopic anatomy.
Yes, correct. Then Dash is the study of relationship between function and structures. Anyone? It's the name we even indicate between function and structures.
Physiology.
Yeah, the study, general study is physiology. So if we are need to again study the relationship between what is specific structure and specific function, that is called functional anatomy. Okay. Then you guys needs to correct this statement. Okay. I don't know whether it is true or false. Cells are made up of tissues. Is it right?
It's false.
Tissues are made up of
Yeah, good. Tissues are made up of cells. Then tissues are made up of organs. Is it right?
It's false.
organs are made up of
Tissues. Very good. So the statement is false. Then next question is, are the smallest living body construction? So here you need to check smallest living body construction. What is the answer? Is it atom, cell, sand, electron, neutron, proton? Which comes under this answer?
cells.
Yeah, cells. Very good. Then a group of cells, group of like cells working together.
Tissue.
Very good. Then a structure composed of several different tissue performing a function. Tissues performing
Organ.
a function.
Organ.
Organ, very good. Then group of organs that together perform an overall function.
Organ system.
Organ
Yeah,
system.
look, so the assignment you can easily solve, right? Let's see how much of your answer is correct. Yeah, only the functional anatomy part and dissection is the two thing. I know we didn't discuss about that. So that's why you guys not able to discuss. So pretty much easier, right? Uh, then in the next class, means I think it was the third session. Yeah, third lecture. The third lecture of the first week, what it are actually basically told us about what is homeostasis and how the system integration is maintained. So what is homeostasis? Can anyone of you can define?
It maintains the body balance and
Very good. Maintenance of the body balance. If you split the word homeo and stasis, he is even explained what does the word homeo means, then what does the stasis means. Homeo means,
It is the unchanging state of body.
yeah, unchanging state or constant. Stasis means
steady. Constant.
steady. Yeah, right. Very good. So it's actually existence of the stable internal environment of a body, everything. So that is called homeostasis. And there are different components in a homeostasis, right? There are intrinsic factors, extrinsic factors. What is all comes under this intrinsic factors?
The
Intrin-
autoregulation of the body.
yeah, the body pop up with all the external factors through the auto-regulation mechanism. So that comes under the intrinsic factors. Then what are the extrinsic?
It uh, it regulates the fight or flight symptoms like
Yeah,
controlled by nervous
in,
and endocrine systems.
yeah. How the body responds to all these factors as you explained. Very good. So that are the components. Then in all the homeostasis process, you can see here in the figure, it starts with the receptor, right? Suppose I have touched a some fire, like something. Okay, my finger got burnt. So what is the first thing that senses that response? That thing is called receptor, right? So just stimulus came, which produce changes in a variable. That stimulus is basically detected by receptor. So the first component inside the homeostasis is receptor. So then receptor sensed. Suddenly receptor send the signal to where?
Control center.
Yeah, control center. So if like it's depend on the situation. For it's mainly the control centers are situated in which part of our body?
Brain and spinal cord.
Yeah, correct. So control center now detected. Now it understood. Oh, we need to do something. Otherwise, it is dangerous. So control center send the information like the neural pathway or whatever the signal to some particular organs called effector, right? So effector finally bring back or bring back that change to the normal steady state, which means through these three components is homeostasis is actually maintained. First component is receptor, then control center, then effector. So then basically all these mechanisms are carried out by so many feedback mechanisms. Even the word indicates it's a feedback mechanism, right? And there are different types of feedback mechanism. Uh, Two types basically. One is positive feedback and the other one is negative feedback. Yeah. What is positive feedback? Can you say any example?
One is the activation of other leads to the activation.
The one stimulus stage and that again bringing back like it is a positive interaction. It is activating again the same thing and bringing back that. So it's in a positive direction. That's why it is called positive feedback. Any example?
Release of oxytocin during parturition.
Yes, very good. Then what is negative feedback mechanism?
It leads to the inactivation again.
Inactivation. Inactivation matlab it's like in the opposite direction. So one component, if some stimulus got, then something happened. So what happened? Especially we can say it using temperature regulation or the blood glucose level. So what happened? I ate some extra glucose. I was eating continuously laddu or ice cream, whatever I like sweets. So I was eating continuously sweets. So my body understood that, oh, this girl is eating so much sweet. So I need to do something. So what will body do as the result of the extra glucose that I taken in?
Secretion of more insulin.
Yeah, it will secrete more insulin. And this insulin is increasing again the glucose level or it's decreasing the glucose level, right? So that's why it's in a negative direction. That's why it is called a negative feedback mechanism. And so pancreatic insulin is increased. Insulin will go and tell the body to convert the extra glucose that I have taken, the liver to tell the liver to convert it into the glycogen form. Then it will store and deposit and glycogen. So finally, my glucose level is bring back to the changes. And if I have not eaten, like I did not take anything for uh, last one day, I was not eating. I was doing some fasting. So what happened now? My body glucose level got decreased, right? Again, body got understood. So body will tell our pancreatic cell to secrete what?
Glucagon.
Yeah, glucagon. It told glucagon, then glucagon came. Glucagon will convert this deposited glycogen back to what? Glucose. So thus, all these systems are maintained and regulated through some specific process. So, in negative feedback mechanism, what are the examples? Regulating temperature, regulating blood glucose level, all these things can be considered as examples for negative feedback mechanism. And in temperature also Star explained, that's why I did not. So what happened in temperature regulation? Suppose the temperature condition got disturbed. Now the stimulus is uh, like stimulus sent already because the external environment temperature varied. So first thing receptor will understand, right? Receptor will send signal to The control center. So in case of temperature regulation, what is the control center?
Hypothalamus.
Very good. Hypothalamus sense, understand something is altered, and hypothalamus send the signal to the effector. Like the effector, and the effector turns back the mechanisms. Like if it is different body mechanisms are there, na? So if it's in a cold condition, what will the body do? We'll start shivering, shaking our like fingers, everything, and do the rub our hands and try to do the heat, everything. So like that, we'll try to regulate temperature. Now, okay, so that was about mainly about the, and also the if we are doing some like exercise, after some time, what will we do? Why we are so much like sweat is a important characteristics of exercise, right? How we are sweating after doing exercise?
In order to cool our body.
In order to cool our body. So same mechanism is basically stimulus is coming, stimulus will send uh, detected by receptor, then like the receptor is sending signal to the control center. The control center is telling our temperature effectors in our body to this particular girl is doing, or girl or boy, sorry, is doing exercise. So they send a command signal. Then finally, sweat gland will be active. Body will try to start sweating everything. So finally, body will be in the steady state of environment. So that is about. Then let's discuss some more example like about the positive feedback loop. So in the fourth lecture, basically started with the starting what is positive feedback loop. So as we said, the mechanism involves more stimulation or acceleration of the process. Best example is the blood clotting. What happens in a blood clot? Accidentally you step on some needle or some sharp object, your foot got started bleeding. So it's bleeding now. Now the stimulus is came, right? So now what happened? The first response, it will get blocked by the cells called platelets, right? And there are so many plasminogen tissue activator. So when the platelets get accumulated there, it will again send signal that leads to again the activation and bringing of more plates at fibrin network, everything, so that the entire part will get solidified, like it will make a semi-solid structure form, and that thing is called blood clot. So basically the activation of something is again bringing back more such things and maintaining the homeostasis back. So such type of reactions are called positive feedback. So blood clotting is a best example. Then as you said, childbirth. So what happens in childbirth? You can see so many arrows here. What is the first process? Where can I start explaining this from? So basically, if a body's head or body, first it starts coming out of cervix. That is the first signal. Okay, it started coming out of cervix. So now the body understood the baby is ready to uh, come out of the uterus. So what the nerve impulse, what will they do? So this signal get transmitted to the brain, and brain stimulate which gland to secrete oxytocin. Oxytocin is secreted by,
Posterior pituitary.
yes, very good. So posterior pituitary now secrete oxytocin, and oxytocin again carried out through the bloodstream, and it again stimulates uterine contraction. So after the first contraction, again this will repeat. So you first uterine contraction happened, and it will again result in the more release of further oxytocin, which leads to, so now the contraction have happened again and again. Thus, we can take out the baby smoothly. So all these are about the animal system. If we are looking into the plants, what is the one best example? Is there, right?
Tomato.
Fruit ripening. You know about fruit ripening, right? Suppose in one branch, okay, there are 5 mangoes. First mango, maybe that mango started to ripe. Its color started changing, everything. So, what is the hormone that responsible for phytohormone responsible for ripening?
Ethylene.
Yeah, very good. Ethylene. So, what will happen? So, ethylene is actually released. This ethylene will send this information to the nearby fruits also, and they will again release more ethylene. Thus, the whole surrounding fruit will start ripening. So, this is the mechanism, a positive feedback mechanism that is seen in the plants. Okay. So, now we learned negative feedback and positive feedback. Just go through some of the difference between all this. So, in positive feedback, is it an amplification or opposite? Reduction. Amplification. Okay. In negative feedback, it's basically reduction or inhibition. So, which is the most frequent occurring mechanism? Positive or negative?
Negative.
Yeah, negative. As we said, temperature regulation, exercise, all both basically most of the hormone responses in happening in body, everything is mostly happen through negative feedback mechanism. So, what is the effect on stimulus? Positive mechanism actually increases the productivity, and negative feedback mechanism actually decreases the
Decrease
productivity.
the stress.
Yeah, which is more stable actually. Stable
Negative feedback.
negative feedback. It can last some more long time compared to the positive feedback. Then examples, as we explained already, blood clotting, fruit ripening, childbirth, menstrual cycle. In menstrual cycle also the hormone estrogen is produced or released by the positive feedback mechanism. Starting with estrogen and result in some reaction, it will activate so many glands which will further lead to the activation of more estrogen, and thus the menstrual cycle is maintained. So that is also one example. In negative feedback, blood glucose level regulation, temperature regulation, all these things. So let's solve again some more question. So what is a feedback mechanism? Option A physiological regulation system in a living body that works to return the body to its normal internal state. Second option is a physiological regulation system in a living body that works to return the body to its abnormal internal state. And third option is a physiological regulation system in a living body that works to prevent the body from returning to its normal internal state. Option A, option B, option C is there. Which is the correct option?
Option A.
Option A. Is everyone agrees with? I think, is everyone agrees to that? Option A, option B, option C. Let's see. Okay. What is the second question? System responding to perturbation in the same direction. Which is the answer?
Positive.
Okay. Then system responding to perturbation in the opposite direction. Which is the answer?
Negative.
Negative.
So basically, blood clotting is an example of
Positive.
Positive.
regulating blood glucose level is an example of.
Negative.
Negative.
These are direct questions. Come on, it's very easy, right? So answers are correct. Now let's solve this. So for what is the first option? Now I won't say anything. You need to tell what is the thing happening and which is the feedback mechanism. So first I will read. A young child is ill. They refuse to keep a cover on and begin to sweat. What is happening there?
Negative feedback.
So what is the stimulus?
Sweat glands.
Okay, sweat gland is the stimulus.
Sorry. The effectors.
So basically, what is happening? Okay, we'll discuss it last. A butcher slices his finger on a blade. He wraps it in a towel until the bleeding begins to subside. So now,
Blood clotting.
very good. Which feedback?
Positive.
Yes. A man faints in the labor and delivery room. Faints in the labor and delivery room. Which mechanism?
Decrease of glucose.
They did not said anything about glucose there. It is just because of his care, so maybe it's due to the blood pressure. So blood pressure regulation is a positive or negative feedback.
Negative feedback.
Okay, let's see. Next question. A team of hunters got lost in a snowy forest. They begin to shiver and huddle close together. Easy.
Temperature regulation.
Okay. Which feedback?
Negative.
Hmm. A group of teens visit a haunted house, and one of the teens is frightened and their heart beats harder than normal. This is also scared response. So which one will be the stimulus? Blood pressure. Right. It's due to the blood pressure, increased blood pressure. So which is feedback mechanism? Okay. Blood pressure is doubtful. Okay. Let's see. Then the next question is, in the events leading to childbirth, the stretching of the uterus triggers the release of oxytocin. We already discussed. Come on. Which response? Oxytocin again brings oxytocin, leads to contraction.
Positive feedback mechanism.
Correct. A toddler got into his sister's candy stash and ate tons of candy.
Glucose metabolism.
Yeah. Which feedback?
Negative.
A seamstress working on a prom dress accidentally shoes through her finger. After a few minutes, the puncture wound no longer bleeds.
Blood clotting.
Yes.
Positive feedback.
Yeah. Now, one is a new mother is nursing her baby. Her baby is not very hungry, and her milk supply seems to go down. So once the baby is suckling more regularly, the mother's milk supplies goes back up.
Is it based on oxytocin levels?
Which is the milk ejecting hormone.
Yes.
Is it oxytocin or some other?
No, milk ejecting is oxytocin. Actually, milk secreting is prolactin.
Yeah, correct. You are right. So basically, the hormone, it's also a hormonal response. So after the baby starts sucking, it will be more. So which mechanism is it a positive or negative?
Positive.
Yeah, positive feedback. Then final one is, after running, a jogger feels very thirsty and drinks some water. Exercise, doing all these things we already discussed, right?
Is it temperature regulation?
Yeah, temperature regulation. What is the answer?
Negative feedback.
Yeah, correct. So now let's see. So first one is basically body temperature, negative feedback. Oh, the doubt was pressure question, right? Third one, which is the feedback? Blood pressure is negative feedback.
Negative.
Yeah. So whenever the pressure rises, it will act in the opposite way. That's why man faints and like the other question was, their heart beats harder than normal, like the flight and fight response, all these things. So basically, it's blood pressure and negative feedback. So all other answers are correct, right? Yeah. The 10th one, actually, it was temperature regulation, but the stimulus is hydration. Now, then the class started by introducing us about different reference points. So what are different reference points? If we are going to understand anatomy more, we need to dissect it, right? For dissecting it, we have different planes. So we need to dissect in, we can cut longitudinally, we can cut transversely. So we can cut the body into different ways. So based on that, there are different planes. What is a sagittal plane? If we are going cutting in a sagittal plane, what all we get? What is a sagittal plane? Like this. So we'll get equal,
Bilateral symmetry.
yeah, equal right and left portion. You are right. So that is called sagittal plane. Then what is transverse plane? Suppose I am cutting my body exactly at the half. So I will get equal my upper half of the body and lower half of the body. That is the transverse plane, right? Then there is one more plane which is called coronal plane or frontal plane. That is basically like, so I am cutting like this here. So if I am cutting through the like this, I will get a front portion as well as back portion. My head, back side, everything, back part, everything comes in opposite. Like, so front and back dissection is called coronal plane or frontal plane dissection. Then what is our cranial part? The word even have the indication, cranium.
Skull.
All these part are called cranial. Then what is the caudal? The back part, right? As the figure indicates. So what is posterior? Back side here. Frontal is frontal or ventral or anterior is the front part. Anterior or ventral. So all these names also are confusing. Sometimes people ask anterior, but anterior and ventral are same. So you need to like, you can correlate with something and keep this in mind. Anterior and ventral are same. Posterior and dorsal are same. So you understand caudal, cranial, posterior or dorsal, anterior or ventral. Then we'll discuss the questions related to in the next slide. Then right, left. What is proximal? What is distal?
Proximal is close and distance is far.
Yes, very good. So proximal is the close, like near to, and distant is the far part. What is lateral? Lateral, lateral name even has. Okay, then let's discuss in the question session. Then all these parts you know, na? Head, neck, thorax, and abdomen all together it's called trunk. Our trunk of the body consists of three parts. What are all these things? Neck, thorax, and abdomen. Then what is our upper extremity? Is it included? Head is included in upper extremity? Okay, let's see. So upper extremity consists of arm, forearms, and hand. And lower extremity consists of basically our leg parts, thigh, leg or shank, and foot. So these are all about the different reference point. Then, so that class was basically about the positive feedback followed by different reference point section, etc. So let's discuss some question right now. Okay, I will read about the question. You guys needs to tell me the answer. Okay. Let's see the question. I will drink some water. First question is, a plane that separates the body or structure into upper and lower parts is called. Upper and
Transverse
lower.
plane.
Very good.
Transverse plane.
Is everyone is agreeing to that statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Second question is, a plane that separates the body into a front and back part is called. Front,
Front and back.
yeah, anterior and posterior.
Frontal plane.
Sure?
Frontal.
Yeah, frontal plane, one more name. So in that figure, I did not use the plane name frontal. There is some more
Ma'am,
name.
is it coronal plane?
Yes. I will go to the slide back. Frontal or coronal. So you got one more name for this plane, na? Which is coronal or frontal. Then, okay, a plane that separates the body or structure into right and left parts.
Sagittal.
Sagittal.
Sagittal. But there is some more extension of the question. Body's midline. So what sagittal?
Mid sagittal.
But again, the question is confusing. Read through the option once more. There is option A, mid-sagittal plane, option B, median plane, option C, parasagittal plane, option D, answers A and B. What is the correct option?
Option B.
Okay, option A. Some other option? Or everyone agrees to option A? Okay, then let's see. A plane that separates the body into parts that are neither perfectly vertical nor horizontal is called. It's not neither perfectly vertical nor horizontal. So what should be the plane?
Oblique plane.
Yeah, because you know about what is transverse, you know what about coronal, you know about frontal. So the only other option left is oblique. Right? So now you understand what is the definition of the oblique plane. It is angled cutting. Next question is, which option below provides the best summary of the four types of body plane? Two are vertical, one is horizontal, and one is any odd angle. B, two are horizontal, one is vertical, and one is any odd angle. C, all planes are horizontal, D, all planes are vertical. Come on, which option?
A.
Why? What are the vertical? What is the horizontal? If you are saying A, you should tell na which are the vertical.
Sagittal and frontal are vertical, transverse is horizontal, and oblique is an odd angle.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. Then next question is, a plane that runs from the top to bottom, dividing the body into unequal left and right. Which plane is that?
Parasagittal.
Yeah, we know that is sagittal. This time it is not equal. If it was equal, then what plane? Mid sagittal.
Mid sagittal.
If it is unequal, then we can say that parasite. Okay. Then next question. Frontal planes are also called.
Coronal plane.
Sure. Okay. Transverse planes can be called.
Longitudinal plane.
Uh-huh. I don't know. How did you said? How? What is a longitudinal division?
Horizontal plane.
Sure.
Yeah.
How
Sure.
much percentage? Is it 50, 60, 40, 30, 100?
100.
Okay, which one? Longitudinal or horizontal?
Horizontal plane.
Okay. Let's see. So option 1 is transverse plane. You guys were correct. Option second question, anterior and posterior is. You guys said only the option D, frontal plane, which is again correct. Which is wrong. Only one option is, I guess, wrong. In third question, which was the option you guys selected? A, B, or C, or D? Mid-sagittal plane, you guys said, but mid-sagittal plane has one more name, that is median plane, and the correct option is D. Okay, actually, I need to connect it to the charger. My system is 1 minute. I'm coming back. Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute. I'm back. So I just connected. Charge was like very low. So yeah. So in the third question, um, correct answer was D, because mid-sagittal plane has one more name. What was it? Mid-sagittal plane or?
Median plane.
Okay. So actually, for three planes, we learned two different names, right? One is for mid-sagittal plane, one is for frontal plane, and the other one is for
Transverse plane.
right. Then fourth option was, yeah, correct, oblique plane. It's angle cutting. 5 was, yeah, again A. She explained also. Who explained the answer actually? Arya?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Arya. And in sixth question, it is unequal. So yeah, we selected the option parasagittal, correct. Then in seventh question, yeah, the option was A, frontal plane or coronal plane. Eighth one was transverse plane or horizontal.
Ma'am, the answer of question 2, is it option A or D?
It's option D. Okay, sorry. A plane that separates the body into front and back. Correct, na? Front and back is frontal plane only, right? So what in sagittal plane cuts the body into equal? It is cutting like this. So we'll get equal right and left.
Okay, ma'am.
So it's correct. Is there any confusion?
No, ma'am, it's clear. I just took it the other way.
Okay. So actually, this is sagittal. This is, if you're cutting like this, that is frontal. Equal right and left, sagittal. Equal, anterior and posterior, frontal. Okay, so that was about different planes. You guys understood, I guess. Then let's discuss again some more question. Which statement is false regarding the anatomical position? The palms face the front. Is it right? Palms face the front. Right or wrong?
Yeah, it's true, I guess.
Yes. Thumb point away from the body. It's actually in a, if your thumb is pointing away from the body. Head is turned to the left side. Is it like this? My head is like this? Look at the thing about the human beings with such a head. Is it right or wrong?
Wrong.
Okay. And option D is posture is standing erect.
Yes.
Yes. So what is the false statement?
C.
Yes. The nose is superior to the navel. Superior. Superior. So is it correct or wrong?
True.
Yeah. What is another name for anterior? I told you, don't confuse.
Ventral.
I don't know. You guys tell me.
Yes, ventral.
Everyone is sure. Is everyone is sure about that answer? Then what is dorsal?
Posterior.
Okay. The word anterior means anterior. Which option? At or towards the front of the body, away from the insertion point of a structure, at the back or rear of the body, towards the middle of the body.
A.
Option A. Okay. The wrist is distal to the elbow. Wrist is distal to the elbow. You guys told me distal means what? Away from. So is wrist is distal to the elbow? Wrist is distal to the elbow.
It's true.
Yes. What is another word for superior? Let's see.
Cranial.
I did not discuss this part. Yeah, if you guys say otherwise, we'll discuss in the discussion. Answer discussion. What was the option? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Cranial.
Okay. Is any other option? Why cranial?
Because it's related to the head and it is something on the top.
Okay. Nice. Let's see. Okay. Next question is the skin is dashed to the skeletal bone.
Superficial.
Okay. How did you choose? There is one more answer. Proximal, I can say. Na? It's close to skeletal bone. Why superficial?
No, superficial is something very external, and between the skeletal bone and skin, there is a portion of muscles and tissues.
Yeah, very good. Because proximal can be, proximal is used to say for the joints, everything, like just near to. But superficial is, as Arya said, it is to the surface, external surface. So skin is basically outer surface layer. So we can say skin is superficial to the skeletal bone. Heart is dashed to the shoulder. Option. Heart is dashed to the shoulder. Medial, intermediate, distal, lateral.
Is it lateral?
Let's see. You guys understood all the word meaning, na? Oh, that's why when we are telling about the lateral also there was confusion. So we will discuss about this. What is the term for the back side or back in an anatomical position? Back. Anterior, ventral, caudal, posterior.
Posterior.
Okay. The radius forearm bone is dash to the humerus. Radius is dash to the humerus. Intermediate, proximal, distal, anterior.
Proximal.
Why?
Distal.
Okay. Two options. Any other option? It's good. Let's discuss. Arya said proximal, Kitty said distal. Come on, Shia, Salima, Delvia, Priya, Varada. Any other option? Okay, let's see. So, first one's answer is you guys are correct. Head is always to the front, not to the left side. The nose is superior to the navel. Yes, it is true. Anterior or ventral. Posterior or anterior or ventral. Posterior or
Dorsal.
correct. So anterior means you guys also selected the same option at or toward the front part of the body. Yes, it is right. Then wrist is distal to the elbow. Yes, right, because it is distal in a straight line manner, distal. So what is another word for superior? Oh, that was a question. But I think Arya, who answered this? Arya.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, superior or cranial. And her explanation was also right. And skin is superficial to the skeletal bone. That also we got explanation. The heart is dashed to the shoulder. Eighth one, what was the answer? I think you guys selected proximal. Proximal is near to. Is shoulder and heart are near to. Proximal is the opposite word for distal. So is it true? No.
No.
Correct option is medial. Medial. Then elbow is dash between the wrist and the shoulder. Did we discuss this question? Did I
No,
forgot?
ma'am. You
Oh,
actually skipped this question.
so actually elbow is, you guys can say that. Wrist, shoulder. So where is it? In between, na? What is the word for in between in that four option?
Intermediate.
Yeah, intermediate. What is the term for backside or back in the anatomical position? 10th question was
Posterior.
posterior. Anterior is front part, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then radius is distal.
Distal.
So Kitty was right.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is about the other reference points and planes of the body. Then in the fifth class. So fifth class actually sir was discussing about basic chemical basis of organization of the body. So I also said like if we are again splitting a cells, yeah, definitely cells contain subcellular organelles and all these organelles, like everything inside the cell is made up of some chemical components. So what are those chemical components? There are different types of components, right? If we are splitting everything like again into short, and what is this like substructure, minute structure that can be seen, that is called as atoms. Atoms are combined together to form molecules, and different molecules can like combine and like not molecule, different compounds like can form again compounds. Is water is a compound?
Yes, ma'am.
What type of compound? Inorganic or organic?
Inorganic.
Can you please tell me an example for organic compound?
Methane.
Yes. In our body, related to our body, anything?
Glucose.
Yeah. So what is the definition of an organic compound?
It should basically contain carbon.
Okay. Right. So Sarva has also told you to go and brush up the basic chemistry, biochemistry level. So that's why I asked all this question. Then, so all these, like if suppose atoms join together to form a molecule or a compound. So there are different types of bond. These things are bonded by different types of bond. So what are the different types of bond? Bonds present.
Ionic, covalent, and hydrogen bonds.
Okay, what is ionic bond? Why the name ionic? In water, hydrogen and oxygen are there. Is it an ionic bond? Come on, just go back to our plus one, plus two level. No, even before that, we learned that. So, ionic bond is basically the bond formed by the attraction, right? Donation of electron and acceptance of electron. Can you tell any compound that is formed through ionic bond? Any compound, not related to
Sodium
bond.
chloride.
Very good. So, in sodium, if you are checking the outer
Positive.
shell, yeah, there is one positive plus charge is there because sodium is atomic number is 11, right? So it can donate one electron, and that electron is accepted by.
Chlorine.
So chlorine's atomic number was 70.
17.
So these together can join together to form a stable structure. So it's by electron donation and acceptance, basically by the charge attraction. So that's why it's called ionic bond due to the power of ions. So that is called ionic bond. Then you told about covalent bond. Okay, which is stronger, ionic or covalent?
Ionic bond.
Sure. I don't know.
Yes, ma'am. Ionic bond is strong.
Okay. So what is covalent bond? What is the definition of covalent bond?
Covalent bond is basically the electrons are being shared between the two atoms.
Yeah. So in water, what type of bond is there?
That is a covalent bond. It's not based on charge, but they actually share the electrons and complete their octet.
Yeah, correct. So that is the due to the sharing of electron, it is called a covalent bond. Then you guys also said hydrogen bond, right? So hydrogen can be bonded with all the atoms or some specific atom.
Specific atoms.
All like what all are specific atoms?
Like oxygen, nitrogen, that electronegative atoms basically.
Okay. Nitrogen, oxygen, and
Chlorine is there.
okay. Basically, the most electronegative atom it can form. And fluorine also it can be formed. There are different. So all these are about the bonds. Then so basically our bodies there are different types of chemical reactions are happening, right? Is it true or false?
It's true, ma'am.
What all types of reactions are there?
Redox reactions are there.
Okay. What is redox reaction?
Reduction and oxidation takes place in the same reaction.
Okay. So that is there. Is all these reactions reversible or irreversible?
It depends on the metabolic pathway, ma'am.
Yeah,
There
some
are
are
reversible
reversible,
as well as
some are
reversible.
okay. And all these reactions, there is a major group of proteins who can control all these chemical reactions. What are they?
Enzymes.
Okay. Is all enzymes are proteins?
Mostly they are, but there are exceptions in our body like ribozymes where RNAs can act as
Yeah, very good,
proteins.
very good. So basically, mostly all enzymes are protein, but we cannot say that. There is people found out that ribozymes, like the part of the ribosomes, can also act as a show enzyme-like properties. So especially in RNA cleavage, everything, ribosomes can be act as a unit, separate unit. So that is about basically about enzyme everything. Then there are inorganic compound we told about water, everything, salts. Then all these components, like all the for the essential maintenance of homeostasis, there should be some additional things also required, which is called buffer system. So for pHCs should be maintained, then only everything should be maintained. So there are different buffer system. What is the word buffer means?
Buffer is something if you add an acid or an alkali, it will remain, the pH will remain the same without much
Okay, so
increase or
how
decrease.
in our body are we adding any acid or alkali?
There are systems which indirectly does that process.
Yeah. Can you say one example?
Yeah, the bicarbonate system in the blood.
Very good. So there are different types of buffer system. One example is the bicarbonate system in the blood, H2CO3. It can split to H plus and HCO3 minus, and it will maintain the buffer composition of the body. There are other things also. Different types of buffering systems are there. Especially if you are checking the blood also, we can see different types of buffer system. So all these I was just brushing up through the basics that we have learned earlier. Then if we are coming to organic compound, what all organic compounds are present in our body? The main source of energy, which is the organic compound.
Carbohydrates, glucose.
Okay, main source is glucose. Glucose is coming under the class of carbohydrates. Then the other one, what is our membrane made up of?
Mm, proteins.
Only protein.
No, proteins,
Major
lipid,
composition is protein or lipid.
Lipids.
Yeah,
lipids.
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 So it's majority lipid. So lipid is also lipid have the hydrophobic part, hydrophilic part, everything, right? It's basically a phospholipid bilayer. Phosphate part is also there. Phosphate is hydrophilic or hydrophobic. It is charged. So which is it's hydrophobic or hydrophilic? Head phosphate charge.
Hydrophobic.
Uh,
Hydrophilic.
hmm. Tail part is actually hydrophobic. Why tail part is hydrophobic? Tail part is made up of what?
The hydrocarbon chain,
What hydrophobic chain?
fatty acids.
Fatty acids. So that's why tail is hydrophobic. Okay. Then lipids are there. Then there are different types of. If we are going to check from the central dogma onwards, everything of our body is made up in some basic structure, which is called as we are growing due to that thing. We are eating everything. Majorly, these things are like one of the integral components of our body.
DNA,
Uh,
RNA.
okay. Then there is only one more part in central dogma, right?
protein.
Okay. So we are actually talking about the organic compound. So the basic, like everything, our body functions through basically proteins, right? Yeah, obviously DNA is making up RNA, RNA is making up the protein. I'm telling about all the basic like things are maintained everything through the function of protein. That's why central dogma last part. Did any after protein? Is there any other things from the protein? Is there anything is formed? No. So that's why protein is the essential thing. Then there are different types of protein. Like for example, my hair or a nail. All these types of protein are coming under some particular class. Which class of protein? Structural protein. Have you
Fibrous
heard about?
protein.
Okay. Have you heard about structural protein?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we can classify protein in different way based on the structure. You are right. It's secondary, tertiary, quaternary, and there are different types of classification protein. So I was asking about the hair, nail, everything. These are coming under the structural protein. Then there are also functional level classification. So functional level classification, for example, we need to, if we are considering the enzyme, like mostly enzymes are proteins only. So there are different functional level classification also. Then if we are again splitting it into based on the structure, secondary structure can be splitted to two types. What are the two subtypes?
Globular and fibrous proteins.
Secondary structure? You are right. Globulous and fibrous, we can classify like that. I'm basically talking about the secondary structure splitting.
Alpha, beta.
Yeah, alpha helix and beta sheets. And there is one more, but yeah, it's advanced level. Then there is tertiary structure, quaternary structure, all these things. Right? Then the fourth component is nucleic acid, as you said, DNA, RNA, all this can be, it's also basically very essential because our hereditary information, everything is coded in this particular organic compound. Nucleic acids are composed of what?
Nucleotides.
Okay,
Polynucleotide.
polynucleotides. What is nucleotide?
It's a composition of
Phosphate,
phosphate sugar, nitrogen base.
nitrogen base,
Okay, very good. Phosphate sugar and nitrogen base.
nitrogen base,
Okay, these are bonded together through what kind of bonds?
Hydrogen
One
bonds.
nucleotide is connected to another nucleotide through
Hydrogen bonds.
nitrogen,
uh,
peptide,
wow, peptide. Okay. Let's go back through and again discuss. Okay, so in protein, there are proteins. What is the subunits? Like structure, basic structure of a protein.
Amino
amino
acids.
acids,
Okay, so two amino acids are if they are joining, what type of bond is that?
Peptide bond.
Oh, so that is peptide bond. So if nucleic acid, is there a peptide bond?
No.
Okay. So in amino acids are basically joined together through peptide bond. If two peptides form, what can we call that structure as a?
Dipeptide.
Very good. So what is the minimum like classification of a protein? If this
urines
much,
and pyrimidines, much
I'm talking about protein. Okay, let's again brush up again and again. Okay, so if what is the like smallest protein that you know? It consists of this much amino acid. We were discussing sometimes before regarding something. It's a hormone in our body. In our body also it's there. Everyone, animals' body it's
Is
there.
it insulin?
Yeah. How many amino acids are there? Okay,
If I'm not
Ritina,
wrong,
you are
it's
right.
51.
Can you please tell how many amino acids are there?
51
Very
amino
good.
acids.
51 amino acids. So if more than 50 amino acids are there, then only we'll call it as a protein. Before that, it is just like a polypeptide chain. So that is about protein. It's based off peptide bond by the, so in basically protein structure is centrally there is a carbon, then there is a NH2 group, amino group, then there is a carboxyl group, COH group, then there is a H group, then there is R group, right? So basically this amino group and carboxyl groups are joined together by removing one water molecule. Then that bond is called as peptide bond. Then I asked about the nucleic acids. So you guys told me nucleic acids are basically polynucleotides. You guys were right. They are polynucleotides. Nucleotides are composed of nitrogen based phosphate and sugar.
nitrogen,
In DNA, what type of sugar is there?
Deoxyribose.
Why it's deoxyribose?
Because it doesn't have an oxygen in the second position of its structure.
Okay. So in RNA, what kind of sugar is there?
Ribose sugar.
Ribose
Okay,
sugar.
ribose sugar. You guys were right. That also. Then I asked, one nucleotide is joined to the another nucleotide through which type of bond?
Phosphodiester.
Yeah, now you got. So that bond is called phosphodiester bond. Then what all bonds are present? If nitrogen base want to connect to another nitrogen base, what type of bond is that?
Hydrogen bond.
Hydrogen bond. So then purines and pyrimidine comes. What are the purines consist of?
Guanine and adenine.
Then
Okay, pyrimidics.
Cytosine,
yes,
uracil, and thymine.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
So why it is like purines and pyrimidics? What is the basic difference between them?
bonds, hydrogen bonds, two double.
C and G, they are combined through the triple bond. A and T or U is through the double bond. But is we come like we classify them based on their structure. Their
Yeah.
double ring and
That's a
single ring. Double
hexagonal
rings are
And double rings and pyramid.
uh,
Then
singly.
purines are single ring.
Okay. Now
no.
you go through
Urine.
code.
Urines have two rings and pyrimidines have one.
Huh. Okay. So it was ulta. Purines have double rings and pyrimidines have single rings. Purines consist of. Are you sure? You guys told A and G something, na?
Purines are adenine and guanine.
Because they contain.
Two rings.
Okay. What are the pyrimidines?
Cytosine, thymine, and uracil.
So we'll go through the again, like in the later part of the unit, we'll again discuss more about this. I will show the separate ring structure, everything. Now I don't have in the slides. So that's about nucleic acid. Then what are the other sources? That are also basically energy compound, energy rich compound. Basically ATP. What is an ATP? If ATP is a nucleotide or what?
It is a nucleotide.
Yeah, it is a nucleotide. Adenosine triphosphate. Basically, if you are checking the structure, it also contains the same thing as that of a nucleotide. Then why ATP is so special? There are other things also, NADPH, then FAD, different things, right? So there are different types of actually organic compound classification. We go through carbohydrates, then lipids, then proteins, then nucleic acid, then these energy compounds. So that is about general classification. Then there is like cellular level of organization. We actually studied in the first two slides also. What is the level of organization, everything. So basically the subatomic particles like the organic compound, everything will form together. Then they will form separate organelles. Organelles will form different organelle clusters together in a single unit called cell. Cell will cluster together to form tissue, tissue to organ, organ to organ system to organism level. That is basically the classification. Then in the last class, I also discussed about a subatomic structure of a cell. Cell consists of all outer membrane. You guys already told there is a phospholipid bilayer. Where is the DNA and RNA, everything? Power, like the center of the cell. What is that called?
Nucleus.
Okay, nuclei. Why nuclei is so important?
Sorry, ma'am.
Why nucleus is so important?
Because it's a control center and
Contains the
DNA.
DNA and RNA. Basically, all hereditary information are inside that part,
inside
right?
the nucleus.
Even the mitochondria and chloroplast, if you are checking like that, also they have. But nucleus is the major point where all the DNA are arranged. Then what is that inside part called? After membrane, inside together we call it as
Cytoplasm.
Cytoplasm.
cytoplasm. What is a cytosol? What is the difference between cytoplasm and cytosol?
It's the same thing.
Is it the same thing?
Yes, ma'am.
So cytoplasm is the part you said. What is the soul? The word soul means cytosoul.
It is the fluid part of cytoplasm.
Yeah, it is fluid part of the cytoplasm is called as cytosol. It is not actually the same if you are again splitting. So generally all things are generally called as cytoplasm, and if you are just considering the fluid part, it is called cytosol. Like the nucleoplasm. Inside the nucleus, there is all this called as nucleoplasm. Then what are the other cell organelles present inside the cell?
Mitochondria.
Okay,
Golgi
what is the
body.
function of mitochondria?
Ribosome, Golgi body, powerhouse of the cell,
Okay, what is the
storage
function
of
of a ribosome?
protein synthesis,
Okay, where is ribosome found inside a cell?
In Golgi body.
Hmm? Only Golgi body.
Endoplasmic reticulum also.
Okay, then
Some are free in the cytoplasm.
yeah, some are free also in the cytoplasm. Then what is the function of endoplasmic reticulum? You guys were saying endoplasmic reticulum.
cytoskeleton,
Okay. Other than that, since ribosome is also present, na, so they can take part in something else. So,
Protein synthesis.
then they can also do
Modification of proteins in the lumen of ER.
okay. Then is there any part like where is the lipid synthesis is happening?
Uh,
Endoplasmic reticulum.
Where?
Endoplasmic reticulum.
Endoplasmic reticulum. What is the function of Golgi apparatus?
Secretion, basically. Secretion
Yeah,
of substance.
packaging and secretion. So now endoplasmic reticulum is made everything. Now you just need to send it in the convenient form in packets. So that is Golgi apparatus. Then basically nucleus. You know what are the functions of a nucleus. Then is there any other things? In plants there are vacuoles. What is vacuole?
Storage of
Vacuole
material.
contains the
Storage space, right? Storage space for everything. Okay. Oh, which is the suicidal bag?
lysosome.
lysosome,
I was just going to all the basics. Okay. I was not like, yeah, that is fine. We discussed about like basic structure. Then in the tissue level, again, tissue, the how many types of tissue you guys know? What are the major classification level? In the skin, outer layer of skin, what type of tissue is there?
Stratified epithelium.
Okay. Epithelium. Basically, you can say epithelium. So epithelial tissue is there. Then what are the other tissue? Blood,
Connective
everything consists of?
mucus.
adipose,
Okay, adipose is there. Blood comes under. Blood,
Connective
adipose, everything comes
tissue.
under. So
connective
connective tissues.
tissue,
Then this muscle, bones, everything.
Muscular tissue.
muscular tissue,
Okay. Then there
cardiac,
is cardiac. Okay. Then there is one other
Skeletal
very
tissue.
okay skeletal is there. Then that is basically everything comes under the muscular part. The fourth part.
Nervous tissue.
Yeah, nervous tissue. What is that?
neuron,
Cells. Yeah. Okay. No. So you guys knows everything. So we went through basics. Now let's solve again some questions. It's actually a question I have given answer also. Let's discuss them. So you guys know, na, there are 4 elements that make up the 96% of our body matter. What are all other things? Basically, if we are like dissecting our body into single part, simple part, simple part, simple part, simple part, and we'll get like major composition of our body, like with composed of these 4 atoms. What are all these things? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and
Nitrogen.
nitrogen,
where is nitrogen present in our body?
Nucleotides.
Okay, nucleotides. There are
Proteins.
yeah, proteins consist of amino group. All these things, right? So everywhere, all these things are there. Then the basic structural material of the body consists of, that's what we are saying, all the structures. We are
Proteins.
growing, all the things, like why we are growing? Because of the protein.
Protein.
Yeah. In general, the lipids that we refer to as oils have, so in lipid also there are again classification, saturated and unsaturated, right? So oils mostly have saturated or unsaturated mode.
Unsaturated.
And oils actually have a high degree of unsaturated mode. Then you know that if we are again splitting a atom, as we said, in ionic bond, sodium plus Nf plus. So whatever, like most ionic in nature, there are two types of ions: positive charged ions and negative charged. Positive charged atoms are called,
Cation.
and negative charged are called.
Anions.
Huh. Then you guys know what is the atomic number? What is the atomic number means?
Basically, the
Atomic,
number of protons.
okay, number of protons or electrons in a neutral atom, right? I can say like that also. So in carbon, its atomic number 6 means it contains 6 number of protons, and normal neutral state it contains 6 number of electrons. So atomic number, so basically atomic number referred to proton or the number of electrons in a neutral state. Then what is this neutron?
It's a chargeless particle
Okay, where it comes in an atomic particle if we
inside
did
the
not.
nucleus, that mass to the nucleus.
So yeah, mass to the nucleus. So if we are comparing the mass number, how we can find the number of neutrons? Just by subtracting
The difference of mass number and
mass
atomic
number
number.
minus atomic number will be the number of neutrons. Then which type of chemical bond involves the sharing of valence electron? You guys already told me this. It's sharing of
Covalent bond.
yeah. Then there are three types of subatomic particle we already discussed: proton, electrons, and neutrons. There are so many other modes, but for biologists, this is fine. This type of energy is best described as being stored in the body and awaiting the future use of. So
Potential
basically,
energy.
the potential energy is the stored form of energy. Then carbohydrates are stored in liver and muscle in the form of,
Glycogen.
it is the animal fat source, right? So glucose can be converted to glycogen. If glucose is like over in our body, insulin will come and convert. I told when we are telling about the feedback mechanism. Then following subatomic particle is found in n-valence shell of an atom. Outer shell, inside the nucleus there are proton and neutron, and outside the shell we can see electrons, right? So A plus B gives AB. What kind of reaction is that?
Synthesis.
Synthesis. If it is like AB gives A plus B, what kind of reaction is that?
Degradation.
Lysis.
Okay. Then what is a chain of more than 50 amino acids called? That's why we can call
Protein.
only a protein if it contain at least minimum 50 amino acids. So the insulin is considered as a protein. Then next question. Okay, what is the formula? Sorry for my C6H12O2. I need to add suffix form. It's not written correctly. I will edit it. What is C6H12O6 actually? Sorry, it's O2.
Glucose.
It's written. What is C6H12O6?
Glucose.
Okay, so what does it mean? It contains 6 carbon, 12 hydrogen, and 2 oxygen, right? Sorry, 6 oxygen, right? Then the most significant solvent in the human body is found in the form of, did our
Water.
water. Our body has lots of water and we need to drink how many liters of water per day? Like for a healthy maintenance lifestyle.
Is it 5?
Okay, go and check. 8 glass of water, how much liters? Then when atoms Dash is stored energy, potential energy. With atom of two different elements bound together, they form a
Compound.
that's why two different elements. If atoms just combine together, they will form molecules or element, right? If two different elements combines together, it will form a compound. H2O, CO2, NH3, all these things are compound. What level of protein synthesis is represented by the coiling of the protein? Chain, backbone, induced structure representing an RBC. So what is the functional level? Proteins are like, if we are going and checking the protein, all these structures, how will they look like?
Quaternary.
It's in their quaternary structure. Like they have separate globule, module, everything. Then ionic bonds occur when opposite charge attract to other, as we said in the case of sodium chloride. Then choose the answer that best describe HCO3 minus. What is an HCO3 minus? It's a
Bicarbonate.
bicarbonate ion, right? We told about the
Bicarbonate.
buffer system in our body. So this is a question comes under buffer system part. Then a catalyst does what? That is a simple question. That's why I note. An oxygen has 8 protein, which means
Speed up the reaction.
8 electrons are also present. A catalyst speeds up chemical reaction. Is there any catalyst that decrease the speed of the reaction?
Yes, there are
What is that called?
negative catalyst.
Okay. You know about. No, I'm not going to. So the classic example of glycogen being broken down to release glucose, it is a decomposition reaction. A plus B gives AB. It's a synthesis. Like that, the larger compounds, like we eat food in the form of carbohydrate, very large compound. It will break down, break down, break down, and finally gives in the form of glucose, which is a reaction of decomposition. Or what? Bolism. Anabolism or catabolism?
Catabolism.
Catabolism. Right? So, yeah, that's all about today. So I hope you guys went through all the lectures, 5 lectures, and now you guys got some idea to how to solve the answers of the assignment, everything. So all the best. Go and do the assignments as soon as possible. Okay, bye. See you in the next week.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for having this wonderful class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. It's nice to meet you all and interact with you this man. Bye, here. Thank you.